"Master, are you all right?" In just a few breaths, Yuru felt her master's intense emotional fluctuations and immediately asked with concern, "I'm fine, just lost my composure." Hua Xian retracted her overwhelming aura the next moment, apologizing with a faint trace of regret. "Master, you?" Yuru started to speak, but stopped herself mid-sentence. Yuru was sharp. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been chosen as the successor by Jiao Yu Fairy, nor would she have been selected as the last disciple by the Pavilion Master of Myriad Flowers Pavilion. But right now, she was completely confused. She had no idea what grudge her master had against the Incense Pavilion. Rumors outside claimed that the Pavilion Master of Incense Pavilion had once abandoned both the Pavilion Master of Myriad Flowers Pavilion and the sect leader of the Poison Sect. But these rumors were clearly exaggerated. After all three of them stood at the pinnacle, where matters of the heart seemed far less credible. "Don't worry about these things. Focus on preparing for the upcoming ruins," Hua Xian said, her voice carrying an undeniable authority. "There's less than half a year left before the ruins will appear," she added. "The token left by Jiao Yu Fairy is inside, so we must obtain it. And with other powerful factions eyeing it greedily, we cannot afford any carelessness." Yuru nodded immediately. The trip to the ruins was of critical importance. "All right, it's about time we head back. I still have many matters to attend to in the pavilion," Hua Xian said after a brief pause. "Yes," Yuru replied and accompanied her master back. Just as they were about to return to the Myriad Flowers Pavilion, a long, piercing cry echoed across the sky, and Hua Xian's face darkened considerably. She looked up to see a blurred figure in the distance at the pavilion's headquarters. Yet the overwhelming force of life and death emanating from it was unmistakable. "Xianer, it's me, Fenton. I've come to atone." A slender figure stood in the sky. Though he appeared frail, no one dared to underestimate him, for the power contained within him was far beyond what any disciple of the Myriad Flowers Pavilion could handle. Damn it! Has the Pavilion Master been informed? 5 powerful figures from Myriad Flowers Pavilion appeared in the sky, surrounding Fenton tightly. They were clearly not ordinary disciples, but among the top fighters of the pavilion. Even they felt a tightness in their chests, reluctant to engage directly. No one dared to step forward to fight him. Not with Fenton, the Pavilion Master of Incense Pavilion, standing before them. A true Docian. She's been notified, but the Pavilion Master is training with Yuru in the rear mountains. "It might take her some time to return," said the weakest among the 5, a playful woman of the 7-star Do D level. "Damn it! Pavilion Master of Incense Pavilion, our Myriad Flowers Pavilion and your Incense Pavilion have always kept to our own lanes. What brings you here today?" The woman, one of the top fighters in the pavilion and Hua Xian's right hand, spoke angrily. Of the 5, she was the strongest, even surpassing the 9-star Do D level, though it was unclear how many stages she had advanced. The other 4 were around the 8-star Do D level, making them a formidable force. "Little Hua, let Xianer come out," Fenton said calmly, recognizing the woman leading the group. "How dare you? My name isn't one you can casually call out. And do you think you can see the Pavilion Master just because you want to?" The woman, known as Xiao Hua, snorted coldly, her brows furrowed in anger. Xiao Hua, whose real name was Hua Yun, was the Pavilion Master's loyal follower. Having traveled with Hua Xian for years, she had advanced to the 9-star Do D level, making her one of Hua Xian's most trusted aides. "You know I don't like repeating myself," Fenton said, with a trace of guilt in his voice, knowing the extent of the damage his past actions had caused Hua Xian. "Leave. The Pavilion Master's strength has advanced once again. If she knows you're here, you won't be able to leave today," Hua Yun warned after hesitating briefly. "Vice Master, what is going on?" The other 4 Myriad Flowers Pavilion experts looked puzzled. "I know, but I didn't come here intending to leave," Fenton said with a self-deprecating smile, his tone carefree. "In that case, stay." As soon as Fenton finished speaking, a sharp gust of wind tore through the sky above the Myriad Flowers Pavilion, and a chilling aura filled the air, as if ice had descended from the heavens. "You're here." Fenton smiled in relief, as he sensed the familiar presence. He whispered to himself, "Finally." "I am," Hua Xian responded coldly, "and I've come for your life." Without a second thought, she left Yu behind and shot towards Fenton with terrifying speed, her fury blazing. "Then come," Fenton spread his arms, exposing his chest. "I've made many mistakes in my life, but my feelings for you and her were always genuine," he said, closing his eyes as if savoring the moment. "Fenton, how dare you speak of feelings? You brought this on yourself. Don't blame me for this." Hua Xian's eyes flashed with killing intent, and a monstrous force surged from her, filling the sky with lethal energy. "You all can leave. This is between him and me, miss. Actually, Fenton, he also—" Hua Yun had just begun to explain, but Hua Xian's furious roar abruptly cut him off. "Get lost." Hua Xian said each word slowly, suppressing the fury burning in her heart. Sigh. Hearing this, Hua Yun immediately realized that no matter what he said, he couldn't fix the situation. He promptly descended with the other experts accompanying him. In the sky, only Fenton, with his eyes shut, resigned to death, and Hua Xian, seething with rage, her entire body radiating killing intent, remained. "Fenton, you brought this on yourself. I've waited far, far too long for this day. If you've chosen her, then what I cannot have, no one else shall. It's over." Hua Xian struggled to keep her tears from falling. Her hand slowly enveloped her body with the dazzling power of life and death, a destructive force containing the might of heaven and earth. Meanwhile, far away in the desolate land of 100,000 miles, at the poison sect's domain, the poison sect's master suddenly opened her mesmerizing eyes. With a burst of speed, she flew straight toward the myriad flowers pavilion. As she flew, the woman kept muttering, "Hua Xian, if you harm him, there will not be a single blade of grass or tree left alive in your entire pavilion." The air behind her trailed with poisonous mists, thick with killing intent. Sigh. A wry smile appeared on Hua Yun's lips. When it came to Fenton, Hua Yun was all too familiar. After all, this guy had a natural gift and had flirted with quite a few young women in his younger days. But the real trouble was that he had entangled himself with both the poison sect master and the leader of the myriad flowers pavilion. However, based on Hua Yun's understanding, Fenton was not someone who would betray his promises. "Prepare to die." Fenton. Hua Xian's long-suppressed rage exploded in the skies above the myriad flowers pavilion's headquarters. In the next instant, her body unleashed the black and white force of life and death, perfectly intertwined, a power marking her as a Do Xian. "It seems the pavilion master is truly enraged," Hua Yun muttered softly, knowing that only a Do Xian could wield such tangible life and death energy. "Die." The moment she clasped her hands together, an overwhelming force of Do Xian energy surged toward Fenton. "If my death can earn your forgiveness, I'm willing to die 100 times, Fenton said softly, a trace of peace in his eyes. Boom, boom, boom. Devastating shockwaves erupted in the sky, spreading destruction far and wide. Bang, bang, bang. Hua Xian's attack was just a meter away from striking the defenseless Fenton. At that moment, Hua Xian was stunned. How could her heart ache for someone who had betrayed her so many times? But no matter how much she wanted to stop, it was too late. Her attack, fueled by rage, was beyond recall. After all, she was a Do Xian. A Do Xian's rage was not easily restrained. Humph! Mad woman! If you kill him, your entire myriad flowers pavilion will fall with him. Just as Hua Xian's attack was about to land on Fenton, the void in front of him twisted violently, and a jade-white hand emerged from it. The hand shimmered with dazzling purple mist, recognized by those with sharp eyes as none other than the legendary poison Do Qi. And among all the experts across the mystic three heavens, only one person had mastered this poison Do Qi to such an advanced level, the poison sect master. You again. Hua Xian's heart eased slightly at the sight of her, but she bit her lip, a hint of resentment flashing across her face. This woman's talent and beauty matched her own, Yet Fenton had chosen her in the end. The questions churned in Hua Xian's heart as she confronted her. Didn't I tell you not to come? Fenton shook his head when he saw the poison sect master arrive. Fenton had come with sincerity today, hoping to settle things with Hua Xian once and for all, either to resolve their grudges or leave his body behind at the pavilion. But he hadn't expected the poison sect master to follow him here. My affairs are none of your concern, the poison sect master snapped. I didn't come here for you. I came because there are unresolved issues between the poison sect and the Myriad Flowers Pavilion. You cannot kill him. Beneath her near-transparent veil, the poison sect master's face held an icy killing intent. Lies. Hua Xian's aura sharpened. Do not think that just because you are a Docian, I fear you in my pavilion. This was nonsense. There was no way the poison sect and the Myriad Flowers Pavilion had any such disputes. Such a flimsy excuse could only fool a child. Hemph. I'm taking Fenton with me today, no matter what. The poison sect master's body erupted with a surge of purple do chi as she reached out toward Fenton, clearly intending to snatch him away. Ever since they parted ways in Xinling City, when Fenton promised to return to guard her mountain after resolving matters with the pavilion, her resentment toward him had faded. Instead, she now harbored a quiet hope, like a girl in love. You two, stop this nonsense. Fenton's voice cut through their escalating tension. This has nothing to do with you, both women snapped in unison. In the next moment, they stood silently in the sky, staring at each other. Slowly, they began to shift their stances. We've had enough misunderstandings already. I've told you before, if I can't have it, no one else can either. Hua Xian scoffed dismissively. Ha ha ha. If I can't have it, no one can. What a line. The poison sect master sneered. Hua Xian, maybe you should ask yourself first. If I hadn't stopped your attack just now, it would have torn Fenton apart. Surely, you noticed he didn't resist at all. So what if I did? Hasn't this guy caused enough trouble? Hua Xian stubbornly replied. Whether you forgive him or not, it doesn't matter. But I can't let him die. The poison sect master understood how deeply Fenton had hurt the Myriad Flowers Pavilion's master in the past, so he didn't expect her to be easily swayed. No, he must die today. Hua Xian's gaze locked onto Fenton. Then try it. The poison sect master shot towards Fenton without hesitation. Go, she commanded. You're not getting away. Hua Xian knew exactly what the poison sect master was up to. Without delay, she launched a fierce attack after them. You saw how she feels today. If you stay, I fear you'll. The poison sect master whispered, his voice trailing off. Xiao Han, thank you. But since this all started because of me, I'll be the one to end it. Fenton, with a heavy push, moved the poison sect master aside. In the next moment, Hua Xian's terrifying attack struck him directly. Fenton, you fool. The poison sect master, usually composed, felt a wave of pain crash over her heart as she watched him get hit, refusing her protection. This was the man she loved. Boom. Fenton's body was struck by the powerful blow, and Hua Xian, still hovering in the sky, froze for a moment. Her attack may have been casual, but with her Docian strength, it should have torn him apart. After all, he hadn't even tried to defend himself. Fenton. Panic flashed across her mind. If he died, it would all be over. The poison sect master watched Fenton suffer, his body racked with pain. Hua Xian, in a rush, flew towards him, her concern evident, almost as if she were a worried bride fretting over her husband. Heh, took the bait. A fleeting smile crossed Fenton's face before he masked it again with pain. However, he had underestimated Hua Xian's strength. His body was severely injured from her strike. Thud. Fenton collapsed, blood spurting from his mouth as he struggled to look up at Hua Xian, who had just landed in front of him. Are you out of your mind? Hua Xian demanded. I told you, I'm here to atone. Whether you want to kill me or forgive me, it's your choice. Despite the blood gushing from his mouth, Fenton remained defiant. His Docian-tempered body, though battered, kept him alive. Without it, he'd have already fallen to her attack. Hua Exan found herself momentarily speechless, taken aback by his unexpected resolve. There are too many people here. Let's find somewhere more private. Hua Exan glanced around and noticed the growing crowd. She spoke softly, but decisively. Let's go. Without waiting for a reply from Fenton or the poison sect master, Hua Exan waved her hand, summoning a powerful gust of energy. The trio vanished without a trace. Finally, no major disaster. Hua Yun, who had been watching, let out a sigh of relief. She knew Hua Exan's heart was soft, and at this rate, forgiving Fenton wasn't out of the question. Cough, cough. What are you staring at? Get back to your cultivation. Hua Yun snapped at the onlookers. You saw the power of the Pavilion master just now, didn't you? That's the level you should be aiming for. The crowd, realizing the Vice Pavilion master had spoken, dispersed immediately. They now had a renewed understanding of their master's strength. She was a Do Xian powerhouse. Meanwhile, the whereabouts of Hua Exan, Fenton, and the poison sect master remained unknown, but it was clear that the misunderstandings between them wouldn't be easily resolved. Within the Xinling royal palace, the grandeur of the hall reflected the power held within. The Xinling king sat upon his dragon throne, reviewing matters of state. That's the poison sect master? The Xinling king muttered to himself. Being sensitive to the auras of the strong, he immediately recognized the distinctive purple poison Do Qi. What's she up to, rushing like this? And heading towards Myriad Flowers Pavilion? Setting aside his documents, the king moved to the window, his gaze following the faint traces of Do Qi left in the poison sect master's wake. Seems there's some hidden conflict between the poison sect and Myriad Flowers Pavilion. Unable to unravel the mystery, the Xinling king returned to his throne, only to be startled by a familiar voice. Your Majesty, always so hard at work. The speaker was none other than Wan Zi, the national master of the Xinling royal family. Wan Zi, fan in hand, gave a slight nod and smile. Ah, national master, no need for formalities, the Xinling king chuckled. They shared a bond that surpassed mere titles. The matter is nearly settled, Wan Zi said, his gaze sweeping the room. Oh. The Xinling king's heart leapt with excitement. But, if your Majesty wishes to see it through smoothly, some sacrifices will have to be made, Wan Zi added. I've already given up enough. The Xinling king bristled at these words, clearly displeased. For that goal, how much effort and sweat had he poured into it, only to end up with nothing? My king, we're already this far. We can't let all our efforts go to waste now. Wan Zi naturally understood how much the Xinling king had sacrificed over the years for that goal. Even the recent Medusa expedition had led to a wave of impeachment from several high-ranking members of the Xinling royal family. The power in the Xinling king's hands was steadily slipping away. Damn it! What now? The Xinling king's eyes flickered with resentment as he slowly turned to Wan Zi. My king, you must know that while your father stepped down years ago, he still guards the 7th level of the underground palace. Surely, you must be more aware than I of what he is up to. Wan Zi spoke calmly. I visited him just days ago, and he doesn't seem pleased with you. In fact, there's a hint of bitterness in his words. Wan Zi added softly. Even after all these years, he's still holding a grudge over what happened with my brother and sister. The Xinling king couldn't help but feel a pang of pain at the thought. If that's the case, even if you manage to obtain Medusa's blood, you may not be able to absorb the sacred flame, Wan Zi warned. I know. The Xinling king's anger flared. Everything had been going according to plan, but who could have foreseen the sudden appearance of Queen Medusa, ruining everything? His father had always been somewhat estranged from him, and now, with this new complication, the sacred flame was even further out of reach. My father's strength may still be that of a Do Xian, but he's a fading storm, incapable of absorbing the sacred flame. One mistake and he'll fall. But it's strange, other than me, who else could possess the power and ambition to absorb the sacred flame? What could he possibly be up to? Could he be eyeing that power sealed by Medusa's petrifying eye? The Xinling king suddenly thought aloud. Within the Xinling royal family, there were actually two Douxian experts. One was the Xinling king's father, and the other was the former Xinling king. However, the previous king had mysteriously been sealed by the Medusa clan's petrifying eye. It seemed his father might be aiming for that power. After all, that was true Douxian power, far more tempting than the sacred flame. What should I do next? The Xinling king's voice now carried a trace of concern. He had no more cards left to lose. Every move had to be made with the utmost caution, for one wrong step could leave him with nothing. My king, how about this? Wen Zi leaned in close and whispered something in the Xinling king's ear. Excellent. The Xinling king's heart leaped with joy. If Wen Zi's plan succeeded, both the sacred flame and the sealed Douxian power would be his. At that point, not only the Xinling royal family but even the entire mystic three heavens would be within his grasp. Wen Zi, take over for me for the next few days. I have urgent matters to attend to, the Xinling king ordered calmly. As you wish, my king. Wen Zi replied, already aware of the Xinling king's schemes, though he chose not to expose them. After all, the two were already inextricably tied to the same fate. The real show is just beginning. You all thought that after my return from the Medusa clan, my strength had diminished and I wouldn't last long? Let's see you fight over the throne then. The position of Xinling king isn't so easily taken. With a dark, twisted laugh, the Xinling king's voice echoed throughout the grand, resplendent hall. Drip, drip. Far from the Xinling royal family's palace, beside a small river, a fisherman was slowly raising his rod. His eyes drooped sleepily, clearly drowsy. But within the eerie, sinister part of the river, water droplets fell rhythmically, each drip following a precise cadence. Sigh. Sending them after Zhu Jin was a mistake from the start. That old fox Zhu Jin also broke through to half-step Douxian. Along with being the top battle array master in the mystic three heavens, even I would find it tricky to deal with him. But something's off. Even if they failed, why haven't those three returned? Could something have gone wrong? The old fisherman murmured to himself. Drip, drip. The water continued to fall rhythmically. The old man's gaze shifted toward the source of the sound, and suddenly, he shouted sharply. Who's there? Come out. With a bellow, a figure shot out from where the water droplets had been falling. The figure was cloaked entirely in black, their features hidden. Yet, the oppressive aura they exuded was unmistakable. This was no ordinary person. Lord Solomon, meeting you today confirms your reputation, the black-cloaked figure said with a laugh as he emerged. His aura was strange and sinister. Humph! You've got some nerve coming back, the old fisherman scowled, clearly displeased at the sight of this man. Heh, Solomon's business has nothing to do with us in the Soul Clan. If it weren't for your three subordinates fighting over fame and fortune, things wouldn't have ended like this, the cloaked figure sneered. He knew exactly why the old man was so angry. After all, when they sent three of Solomon's leaders to hunt down Zhu Jin, not only had they failed, but they'd also perished. Anyone would be furious. Humph! Why are you here? The reason for my visit, isn't it obvious? The man in the black robe said, seeing that the old fisherman was deliberately playing dumb. Just get to the point, the old fisherman replied. Although he had already made some vague guesses in his mind, he naturally didn't want to play along. I'm the head of the Soul Clan's operations in the mystic three heavens, the black-robed man explained briefly. The head of operations? Aren't you afraid that I might kill you for coming here like this? After all, no one knows better than I do about the things your Soul Clan has done behind our Solomon's back, the old fisherman said dismissively, his voice carrying a hint of anger. This fisherman was, in fact, the current head of Solomon, the strongest of them all. Solomon had 12 leaders, with him as the chief among them. There have been some misunderstandings in the past, the black-robed man admitted. But I believe you're a wise man. As long as there's enough profit on the table, no deal is impossible. He wasn't in a rush, knowing that this leader of Solomon wasn't one to be trifled with. If he didn't have some sort of leverage, he wouldn't have dared to show up here. After all, this man had the strength of a half-step Douxian, while he himself was only at the peak of the Dou Di realm. Oh. Solomon's leader raised an eyebrow. Enough profit? At his level, ordinary wealth and treasures were no longer appealing. Let me keep that a secret for now, but I trust you'll soon find out, the black-robed man said with a mysterious smile. And what do you want Solomon to do? The old fisherman asked. It's simple, the Soul Clan member said calmly. Don't interfere with the upcoming trial or the sect competition. Impossible. The old fisherman refused flatly. What a joke. The relics in this trial contained extremely valuable treasures, and the reward for winning the sect competition was extraordinary. There was no way Solomon would sit it out. You'd better think this through. Our Soul Clan has long had close ties with the Ghost Realm, something Solomon can't compete with. I don't know why Solomon has some dealings with the Ghost Realm, but I advise you to stay out of this. This time, we in the Ghost Realm have a major operation underway. As for your reward, I will personally deliver it afterward, the Soul Clan member said slowly. Heh, it seems the Mystic Three Heavens is about to undergo a big change, the old fisherman muttered to himself. Then he thought, the Soul Clan's base isn't even on the Shinling continent. What are they planning? The Soul Clan's dealings with the Ghost Realm are stronger than I expected, he pondered. Your strength is only at the peak of Do D. If you think that's enough to make me submit, you're sadly mistaken. The old fisherman slowly put away his fishing gear and stood up, walking toward the Soul Clan member. Damn it! The Soul Clan member's heart skipped a beat. With his strength only at the peak of Do D, if this man attacked, he wasn't sure his life-saving items would be enough. Forget it. I know what I'm doing. You can go now. I'll consider what you've said. The old fisherman didn't make a move, but instead turned and headed back toward Solomon's headquarters. Though Solomon operated in a low-profile manner, as its strongest member, the fisherman knew full well the immense power behind the Soul Clan's name. One wrong move, and not even the Ghost Realm support could save them. That damned old fox, the Soul Clan member muttered after the fisherman left. Who could he be in contact with in the Ghost Realm to gain their support? The forces in the human world that collaborate with the Ghost Realm are few, and most are fleeting. Our Soul Clan is the only lasting alliance. What's going on with Solomon? Never mind. As long as they don't interfere with the Soul Clan's plans, let them be. But if they do, not even the Ghost Realm can protect them. The Soul Clan member vanished after speaking. Grave Digger warned me long ago that they plan to attack the Mystic Three Heavens. It seems a new order is coming. The sects of the Mystic Three Heavens are in for a major cleansing, Solomon's leader mused, before disappearing as well. The conversation between the Soul Clan member and Solomon's leader ended there, but the Ghost Realm was already stirring with restless intent. Meanwhile, back at the Incense Pavilion, two teams, the Earth Hall and Human Hall, had entered the sky-reaching river and the Cultivation Cave Heaven. Except for Xiao Yin, the rest had already left the sky-reaching river. Though the sky-reaching river had many benefits, its intense suppression was not easy to endure. This trip to the sky-reaching river had proven incredibly fruitful for most. Mu Feng and Lu Di both successfully broke through to the 6-star Do D level, with their life forces reaching the 7th rank, a feat achieved by only a few in the entire Incense Pavilion. Several others also made significant progress in their strength. Earth Hall's second senior, Zhu Yuan, had already reached half-step 7-star Do D before entering the river, and now, after leaving, he had firmly stepped into the 7-star Do D realm. Earth Hall's third senior, Zhang Wuming, had reached the perfect 6-star Do D level but remained there after leaving, as the threshold to 7-star Do D was not easily crossed. Senior brother Xingyu of the Earth Hall, a late 6-star Do D, has now advanced to the perfect 6-star Do D level. As for fifth brother Wang Qian, he too has broken through to the same level. Ling Xin's strength has also reached the late 6-star Do D stage. Qin Xin, being the disciple of Elder Qing, the deputy hall master of the Heaven Hall, has also advanced to the late 6-star Do D stage. Surprisingly, Mu Yingying has also made great strides, advancing 3 whole levels to reach the late 6-star Do D stage, which shocked many when she emerged. However, thanks to the sacred flame within her and the protection of Mu Shuzi, there wasn't much more to say. It's been over a month now. Why hasn't Xiao Yin come out yet? Wang Qian asked in a courtyard within the Earth Hall, a common place for the brothers to chat and relax. Several disciples had gathered here, including some of the Earth Hall's senior brothers. It's been a month already. I remember that since the founding of the Incense Pavilion, very few people have entered the 9th level cultivation cave heaven of the sky-reaching river, and the longest anyone stayed was only 20 days. But Xiaoyan has already been in there for 30 days without any sign of movement. Could something have happened? Xingyu chimed in with a slightly jealous tone, clearly not holding much hope for Xiaoyan. It's unlikely. He must have his reasons for entering the 9th level cultivation cave heaven. Ling Xian's beautiful eyes sparkled as she defended Xiaoyan, her instincts telling her that Xingyu's doubts were unfounded. She had teamed up with Xiaoyan during their expedition to Falling Spirit Mountain and knew that she herself wasn't his match. If Xiaoyan had chosen the strongest cultivation cave, he surely had the confidence to succeed. Enough with the guessing. Everyone, focus on your training. The ruins will open soon, and that will be the final trial of the sect competition, Ling Xian said with a smile. As soon as Ling Xian finished speaking, Wang Chun and Xingyu's eyes lit up with excitement. 5 months remained before the ruins would emerge, a place shrouded in legends that filled them with eager anticipation. Let's hope the kid's okay. I've made great strides since coming out of the sky-reaching river, and I still want to test myself against him, Wang Chun remarked before leaving the courtyard. At the bamboo pavilion. It's been a month already. Xiaoyan hasn't come out yet. Do you think something's happened? Mu Feng asked, clearly worried about Xiaoyan. He and Lu Di had entered the sky-reaching river together, and without Xiaoyan's help, it would have been extremely difficult for them to break through to the 6-star Do D stage. He should be fine. I can sense his power steadily increasing, Mu Yingying replied hesitantly. Let's hope so, Lu Di prayed quietly. After their brief conversation, they all returned to their quarters to continue training, knowing it was crucial to master their newly gained power. Tisk, TSK, TSK. This kid is something else. A voice full of astonishment rang out. It was none other than Mu Shuzi. As the strongest figure remaining in the Incense Pavilion's human hall, he naturally kept a close eye on Xiaoyan. Do you think something's happened to Xiaoyan? Xiong Yuan asked worriedly from the side. What's wrong? Do you think only the Earth Hall can produce monstrous disciples? Can't the human hall do the same? Mu Shuzi shot Xiong Yuan a cold glance. Haha, Mu Shuzi, after all these years, do you really think I'd be jealous of the human hall? If you truly produce a genius-level disciple, I'd be nothing but happy for you. Xiong Yuan quickly replied, softening his tone. Besides, you know as well as I do, the sky-reaching river's 9th level cultivation cave heaven is dangerous. Even Zhu Yuan, who's at the half-step 7-star Do D level, only dared to enter the 8th level cultivation cave heaven, Xiong Yuan added, pouring cold water on Mu Shuzi's excitement. That's strange. Mu Yingying just came out of the 9th level cultivation cave heaven recently. How could she have managed that? Mu Shuzi muttered, realizing something was amiss. Mu Yingying? Xiong Yuan responded. She carries the power of the sacred flame within her. While the details are unclear, I suspect her recent rise in strength is closely tied to it. There's no other explanation for someone advancing 3 whole levels so quickly. I've never heard of the sky-reaching river enabling anyone to achieve that kind of breakthrough. And although the 9th level cultivation cave heaven holds great treasures, you know better than anyone how dangerous it is, Xiong Yuan continued. Hearing this, Mu Shuzi's expression darkened. He had ventured into the 9th level cultivation cave heaven in his youth when he had already reached the true 7-star Do D stage, yet he had been forced out by its overwhelming pressure. According to his estimates, the pressure near the treasure inside was at least on the level of an 8-star Do D. Sigh. I just hope that kid can create a miracle, Mu Shuzi said finally. After all, he was the one who defeated the twin ghost emperors. And now, he's already surpassed countless generations of Incense Pavilion disciples just by staying in the 9th level cultivation cave heaven for so long. Xiaoyan, don't let us down, Mu Shuzi murmured, his gaze growing intense. I've got a feeling that kid is far from ordinary.